Hello, everybody. Okay, everybody's been asking and requesting for me to do a how-to video on how to clean my airbrush. So, guess what? Figured I'd do a little learning myself as far as the YouTube live. I've only done one other YouTube live video, done a few Facebook lives. So this will be a learning experience for me as far as doing the video. I'm using my laptop and instead of the phone. It's a little bit different for me, so you'll probably see me kind of looking at the screen more than looking at the camera or looking at you. But that's just part of practicing this stuff. Hello, how's it going? So first of all, I have 3 airbrush guns to clean today. And every one of my airbrush guns are Iwata Eclipse. Okay? If you're using a different brand, this may still be able to help you. This video will only have Iwata Eclipse in them, but a lot of them have similar pieces and parts. I guess I should probably do some sort of disclaimer to keep me out of trouble. This is my way of cleaning airbrush guns. Maybe it's not the correct way. I'll accept that. So hopefully you can take something away from these videos that will help you. You don't have to take my advice if you don't want to, but you might see something that'll help you and find your own way of doing it. So I'm not saying, well, this is the way you have to do it and there's no other way. I would never say that. This is art. It's about being creative and finding your own path. And if I can help you during that and help you on your path, then it's all worth it, guys. So I'm going to get started so I don't take up too much of your day doing this. Make sure you have everything you need ready, which I always have everything generally within arm's reach. I have rags. I have water. And for most of my cleaning, that's all I need, really. So first of all, take the cap off your airbrush. Okay? I'll try to hold this up here. I'm not used to doing things up here, but work with me. I want to clean my cap off first, and I'll show you why I get into that habit as we get going. Depending on what I'm doing, everybody's kind of got their own thing, what they're doing, What did you do with your airbrush today? Did you just put a couple drops of paint in it, or did you spray all day long with it? That could mean a big difference on how dirty it really is. But I want to get that clean. I want to make sure that inside the rim is clean. Okay. When I will actually use this to hold parts, I will lay it on the table and I will squirt some water down in it. And if I have any little parts, I'll soak them in that. Now, it does have a little hole in it, little vent hole, so after time it will seep out a little bit, but I'm not planning on letting it sit there very long. Okay, I have some rags that are placed underneath my workspace. So I'm kind of lucky there because I will take anything that's left in here and I will actually pour it right there. And it'll pour out, soak up into them rags. I can take them rags, I can throw them away. Okay? That's what I do with my excess. That way I'm not spraying it and getting it all over the place. So I've got this almost empty. There's hardly anything in it. You don't want to let it sit like that very long, though, because now you got a thin layer that's going to dry up. So real quick, I'm going to shut my compressor off so that it doesn't start up while I'm making the video. The DeWalt back here. Still got plenty of air in it for what I need it for. That'll keep it from turning on while I'm making the video anyway. I know I should have thought of that earlier, but I didn't. So I thought of it now. And I don't edit my videos, so I'm not going to edit that part out. So, all right. So I've got the cap clean. I pour water. It's just water. I mark my bottles. Okay? So I don't get them confused with anything else. Oh, I hear somebody coming. What's going on, buddy? Yep. Whatever you want.
Chips?
That'll work. My little helper. That's my boy. They get old quick, don't they? I got 9 and 13. I lead them boys every day. Hopefully, if nothing else, they'll learn that with God and hard work, anything's possible. I mean, look at what I'm doing. For some credibility, guys, in case you didn't know or you don't follow my channel or anything, this is what I do every day. This is my full-time job. I use these to create an income, and that's the only income I have. And these little guys right here support my family and pay my bills and even let me save up some money on some quite several occasions. So, guys, I put a lot into these, okay? I'm not going to play around with them and mistreat them. So, I take a spare brush that I have. This thing's been through hell and back. You can see it's rough. That's fine. As long as your bristles aren't falling off, it'll be okay. And I mix the water up as good as I can so that I can get everything like off the walls of the brush and down in there. So I get it stirred up, and then I'm going to dump it again. That gets the bulk of it out. So now, as you can see, you can spray some of that water down. Any that you have left in the cup, go ahead and spray that out so it gets a lot of the inner parts clean. You can see it's getting fairly clean. Now, the rags I told you to have, right? I take one finger in the rag and I gently go around. You know, you don't want to scrub. You will scrub the finish off if you do that too much. Doesn't have to get down in there and get mad at it or nothing like that. It's just paint. It'll come off. If it doesn't want to come off, they do have a lot of different airbrush cleaners. Get you some good cleaner. Here's a good one. It's an Iwata. It's a cleaner. It just says airbrush cleaner on it. Here's a bigger bottle of it, almost empty. Guys, just a bottle like this, with me airbrushing 5 days a week, a bottle like this will last me well over a year. Because if I put anything in it, like right now, airbrush is empty, right? If I put anything in it, that's it. That's all I need. I can take that right there and swish it around, use my brush if I want to. If there's something, a little pain in the butt part, not messing with me. Now, do you know how to back flush it? Which is when your cap is on and the needle is not exposed, take your finger, put it over the cap, and what will happen is when you give it air, you will start to get bubbles. See if I can get this on camera without making a mess all over the laptop. You see the bubbles? And what that's doing is actually back flushing. The air, instead of going straight out, my finger in the way, is now forced to come up and over and out the cup, creating the bubbles. Well, now what you thought was clean has now got some color to it. Meant that there was some paint down in there. Okay, so that's a good thing. I knew it was there. I used the airbrush. I'm going to add some more water. And I can pretty much spray the water out. What a lot of people that I've done or that I've seen when I've done research on this, what they would do is they fill their water or their cleaner, and they would tell you to spray it until it's clean. Spray it until it's clean. Spray it until it's clean. And that's fine. That'll work. That'll actually clean it out, in my opinion, 95%. That'll get it that clean for you. This is my gun that I call my color gun. Okay, this is what I put my colors in. It also means I don't do a lot of real fine detail work with it. So for me, I can backflush this gun and spray it out over and over till it comes clean. I don't see any color anymore in the backflush bubbles or anything like that. And I can call this one done. I could say this one is 95% clean. But I don't think that any of you guys came here to watch this to get a gun 95% clean, because there's a good chance you've already gotten your gun that far, but yet you're still having issues, right? So you're looking on YouTube and everywhere for some help, saying, hey, what do I need to do here? It's not working. Well, here is my black, okay? Now we're going to repeat part of this process. Hopefully it's not too loud on my phone's over here vibrating. I'm going to repeat the process from earlier. I'm going to take a rag. Sorry, I'm doing it off camera again. And all I'm doing is taking a rag and wiping off that cap. Okay? That's all there is to it. You can get it wet if you need to. The outside doesn't have to be perfect. Honestly, I don't mind if it has a little bit on the outside, because some of these caps, they don't fit real good. And you know what a little paint buildup will do on the outside, on that little rim right there? It actually makes it a tighter fit. Seals it up pretty good. And some of my advice, maybe it won't work for you. I'm sorry about that. I'm just going to show you what works for me, okay? So now I've got quite a bit of paint on this that I didn't use. That's okay. I like to mix a little extra. Every time you make a video, right? So guys, I poured some water in it. And now I'm going to take my brush and mix it up. Wipe off the walls. Wipe my brush on the rag. I'm going to pour out the water. So now the bulk of it is out of there. And I'm just going to wipe it with the rag. Now I keep a dark and a light rag. This is my light rag, fairly new one. Just threw away the one that I had that had way too much paint on it. Should have thrown it away way before I got that much paint on it. But that just helps me kind of see what I'm doing, what I'm getting. But if you'll notice, where it was full of black paint is now looking pretty good. But there is still paint down in the bottom. So we'll go through the same process of getting that bulk out. I'm going to backflush it. Got a lot of bubbles. Got colorful bubbles. They're black bubbles. So I know there's paint down in there. Now I could repeat this just like I did last time, or I could take this bad boy apart. Let's take it apart. What do you think? All right. First thing I'm going to do is take the back of the airbrush gun off. A lot of times I'll run them throughout the day with this never on it. I hardly ever have this on there. The end cap, which, you need to be a little bit of experienced and paying attention to what you're doing if you're not going to have that cap on there. Because it just protects that little needle on the end. I don't know how well you could see it on video, but that's all that does, is it's protecting that needle from getting hurt. So you better watch what you're doing, okay? So now we have exposed needle. I'm going to loosen this nut, and I am going to pull my needle out. Now the reason I didn't do this ahead of time is because there was paint down in here, and the paint was all over the needle. And if I pulled that out, I'm dragging paint through my airbrush gun. That's from my experience, okay? So now there's probably still be maybe a little bit on it, but for the most part, it's fairly clean. I mean, there's hardly anything on that needle. And anything it is usually wipes right off. You don't want anything dried on the needle. And some people will tell you to never touch it and careful what you're doing, don't drop it, blah, blah, blah. You do have to be careful. Not only are they sharp, but you want this in as good a shape as you can get it. So I'm going to carefully lay it down. So now I'm going to run a little bit more water through it while there's no needle in it to spray out any excess. Not really, shouldn't be really much in it right now, but just to make sure, spray it out. Okay. I know I'm fairly clean, but here's what we're going to do. I'm going to take off the head assembly here that's got my nozzle and everything in it, okay? Mine are finger tight. There is an O-ring here that'll stay on the gun. I don't remove the O-ring. There shouldn't be any paint here. If there is, you can take all that off and clean it. But inside here, be careful. Because inside here is, and my terminology and vocabulary might not be correct, but inside here is what I would like to call the heart of the airbrush gun. Can you see it in there? That is your nozzle. You want to separate it. And I'm going to put it down in my cap. See if I can get it up here where you guys can see it. I don't want to leave it sitting out too long in case it's got some paint in it. I don't want to drop it. I'm going to set both of these pieces I just took out in my cap. And I'm going to soak them with water. Again, I like to write on my bottles what they are so that I'm not grabbing the wrong thing. The water doesn't hardly cost me anything. And then I could grab the cleaner and pour it in there. Or you may have a bottle of vodka sitting by, or mineral spirits, or anything, and you get in a hurry, grab the wrong thing, that'd be bad. All right, well, I'll show you the trick that I use, and a lot of companies would not recommend using because it may hurt their guns, and I understand that. I see where they're coming from, but this is what I use, okay? This is an airbrush cleaning kit. It comes with all these different size brushes. As you can tell, it's been well used. It's got different size brushes, okay? So I know that this big one will go through the body of the brush right there. Okay. And we'll clean that end off. You don't have to scrub real hard or anything like that. There shouldn't be anything in there that would give you an issue of having to really force anything. If you've got to force it, just leave it alone. Okay, I'm going to go a little smaller so I can go a little further. And if you'll notice, there is your air hole at the end too. That's where your air comes out at. That is what crosses through and blows the paint out across your needle. You see the little hole at the very bottom? That's your air. Okay. So now I'm going to get one of the smaller ones. Now that I've passed through the beginning, one of the smaller ones, and I'm going to go even further. I can take this bad boy. I can actually feel it hitting the needle packing. Okay. And I'm not getting any paint out. I don't see any paint on the end of my finger. No color. So it means everything's pretty clean in there. And if you can see down in there really good, it might be a good chance to take your brush and gently go in there and see if you can see any particles, any small pieces of paint. You can also flush it out here. Generally speaking, from a guy that airbrushes pretty much every day, this is as far apart as you need to take your gun to clean it. Okay? Clean everything I showed you. Don't drop it, he said. This is what I just dropped. Didn't hurt a thing. But you want to clean that the best you can. Keep it clean inside there, which this one's in good shape. This is the fun one to clean, the heart. You clean those and put it back together, you should be golden. I mean, you shouldn't have any problems. Everything in past that, because there is a needle packing right in here. Okay, so everything from here back should never really get material on it, but it happens. Eventually, it wears out or it loosens, which could be another video because it takes a fine tool to get in there and tighten that packing up. But we'll go over that another time. I will make another video one day and we'll do a complete teardown. The trigger from here comes straight out. All this unscrews and comes out, and I can show you that another time. Right now, let's finish this up for you guys that want to show you. Like I said, if there's no leaks and you don't have any leaks with material getting back in here, you should be good. So I'm going to take this little dude, I'm going to take the heart and get him clean. Like I said, don't force anything in it. Find the brush that you like, that feels good at going in there. Calm down, get your mind out of the gutter. Look at that, see? I'm not forcing it. I will show you a little trick that I use. I'm not finding any paint. I keep a spare needle. This is from one of my old guns. I keep a spare needle laying around. Make sure it's good and clean. I put tape on the end of it. That way I always know this one will never go back in a gun. It's just something I do. I like to mark things. Again, I might get in a hurry. And I'm going to put this one in there so that I can push out anything that might be in there. That's all I'm doing, just nice and carefully. Don't know if you can catch it on camera. See it come out the very end. And that means there's nothing big and bulky and no, you know, when you do yours, there's a possibility you might push something out. Okay, well, don't push too hard. If you need to, soak it a little while longer. It won't hurt anything. Soak in that water overnight if you need to. Okay. So there's nothing in there. Another thing I can do, I can see all the way through it. What do you think about that? I don't know if I'll ever get that on video. I'm not that talented, but I can see all the way through that bad boy. You can blow some air through it. Use the air from your airbrush gun to blow through it if you want to. Just don't drop it. Don't send it flying. Okay. So now it's time to put it back together. All right. We're good and clean. You can see through here. I've done run a needle through it. It's clean inside and out. Make sure everything's wiped off. So now it's time to put this bad boy back together. Okay. Same way it came apart. Nice and easy. If you feel any resistance and something's not right, start over. Okay. It should go right together like that. And like I said, there's an O-ring right here that stayed where it belongs. So I put mine just nice and snug, finger tight. That gives it a good seal against that O-ring. I never have a reason so far in the few years I've been doing this to ever get pliers a hold of that. You get pliers a hold of that, it's just not good. And you're going to need pliers again and again after that, after you've stretched everything to fit the pliers. And now here is one of the parts where a lot of people make a mistake, okay, from what I've heard. I haven't done it yet. And that is this putting your new needle back in. Okay, it's going to go same way it came out. It's got to go back in that hole. But if you're not careful and you bump the end of that needle against something, well, now you bent your needle. So here's what I like to do. I like to get my fingers wet, a little water on them, and I place my finger right here. Okay, and I'll place it there and then insert so that everything goes straight. Now, I don't know how well this will pick up on camera because my finger seems to be blocking it. So I'll try to go forward, but normally I put it right here. This is a guide, okay? It'll help me go nice and straight. See that? That way I don't bump anything. And you should feel it go right in with no problems. There shouldn't be anything stopping you. Shouldn't be any resistance. I can see that bad boy come right out the end. Can you see it? And there was no resistance whatsoever. Tighten your chuck, the little nut on the end there, tighten it back up. It'd be a good idea to go ahead and put your end cap back on. Careful not to touch the end of your needle there with anything. Put this back on just like you took it off before. I'm going to, for the last time, add some water. Put the cap on, and I am going to spray most of that water out. Make sure it's got a good stream. Everything sounds good. It's not spitting, sputtering, bubbling. It's not going crazy on me, so I know everything's good to go. But I do like to keep just a little bit of 3 or 4 drops of water at the bottom of my cup, like all the time. That way I never have to worry about anything drying out. Just in case. What if there was that one speck of paint that all this didn't find? Whatever. But anyway, I just like to keep everything nice and lubed up and wet. And that's clean. That's a good, thorough clean, okay? It's not a deep soaking gun completely apart clean. We'll work on that another time. Maybe do another live video if you guys request it. But that gets everything from here up good and clean, except for the outside, which I haven't scrubbed the outside. That's right. I use these guys. So, guys, I'm going to call that a done video. We can go more thorough maybe next time if you want it. Ask me some questions. Give me some comments. Let me know what you want. Maybe something specific you need to see. If you don't have some of these, check them out. Look up Airbrush cleaning brushes on Amazon. I think they were only a couple of dollars for the set. I've got a couple of them. They're all very, very handy. I believe the companies themselves also make some if that's the route you need to go. That'll work too. I'm not sponsored by anybody, so I'm not going to throw too many names out there. But just check it out for yourself. Like I said, if this wasn't ideal and you want to know something specific, let me know. I'll see what I can do to help you out. I do plan on making more of these videos. So, guys, hit some buttons and shares for me. See what you can do to help me out, and I will come back and make sure I help you out. And I'm Crazything. Check it out on Facebook. Be sure to subscribe to my YouTube, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks, guys. Hope this was helpful.